Welcome to the deep dive. Get ready, because we are plunging right into the fallout from a huge wrestling weekend.
Yeah, we're looking at WWE Monday Night Raw, June 9th, 2025, live from Phoenix, straight after Money in the Bank.
Exactly. Money in the Bank just happened. Title shots are locked in, but now we've got the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments starting up.
That's right, and those finals are set for Night of Champions, which is coming up fast, June 28th. Plus, big title stuff happening right on this show.
Yeah, including the World Heavyweight title on the line tonight. So our mission here is simple: cut through the noise.
We're going to pull out the biggest moments, the returns you need to know about, the major confrontations, and how the title pictures look now. Basically give you the inside track.
Let's get into it. The show kicked off with some pretty big arrivals shown.
Yeah, you saw Becky Lynch, the women's IC champ, and Nikki Bella. First time we've seen her since the Rumble back in February. That was interesting.
Definitely. Plus, Gunther looking very serious ahead of his main event, and the champ himself, main event, Jey Uso.
And they immediately reminded everyone about Money in the Bank, showing that main event where Jey and Cody beat Logan Paul and Cena.
And importantly, R-Truth's return during that match.
Which leads us straight into the first massive segment of the night. John Cena comes out.
And he's immediately framing this whole thing, isn't he? Calls it his retirement tour.
Right. Says he's got 36 appearances planned for the year, and after tonight, only 18 left. Like putting a clock on it.
And he talks about the fans, how they brought back R-Truth at Money in the Bank.
But not in a good way. He dismisses Truth, calls him a second-class comedian, just a gimmick. Says the fans will forget him.
Classic Cena mind games, maybe. Positioning himself as the guy who beat the guys fans supposedly threw away, and asking, who's next on this limited tour?
And then the roof comes off the place.
CM Punk, his music hits, massive pop.
And Punk just walks out and immediately goes after Cena, draws that line. Cena wants to break wrestling, Punk wants to save it.
Yeah, that whole dynamic. Punk says he's not for TKO, not for the millionaires. He's the voice of the voiceless.
Directly contrasting himself with Cena. Basically saying Cena kisses up to the bosses. Punk says his job is giving the fans what they want.
Which, according to Punk, is someone taking that WWE championship off Cena.
And he gets personal. Brings up Elimination Chamber. Says Cena apologized quietly back then. Suggests Cena knows he's wrong now, acting like this monster the title turned him into.
Punk says he'll have to become a monster himself to beat Cena.
Wow. Then the challenge. Lose the title. One of the 18 appearances left. How about tonight?
The crowd was absolutely buzzing. Best in the world versus best of all time right there.
And Cena accepts. But not tonight. He specifies the match. Undisputed WWE Championship. Cena versus Punk. It's happening at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia.
So the huge match is set. But just as you're processing that,
out comes Seth freaking Rollins. Mr. Money in the Bank.
Doesn't say a word, right? Just walks out, holds up that briefcase.
Right at Cena, right at Punk. A massive statement without saying anything. Just don't forget about me.
That whole segment, the history between Cena and Punk alone makes it huge. But Punk's words, Cena's whole retirement tour angle.
It adds so many layers. And Rollins. That just injects immediate chaos into the title picture. Whoever wins at Night of Champions has Rollins breathing down their neck.
Absolutely massive implications. Okay, so from that huge confrontation, the show pivots to the tournament.
Yep. Commentators Wade Barrett and Michael Cole officially kick off the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. Finals at Night of Champions, June 28th.
And they announced the first round matches for tonight, both fatal four-ways.
For the Queen's side, Liv Morgan, who's the women's tag champ, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, and Kairi Sane. Stacked.
And for the King side, IC champ Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Sami Zayn, and Braun Breaker. Another really interesting mix.
Before those tournament matches, though, we got AJ Styles versus Chad Gable.
And Gable cut this promo beforehand sounding really bitter. Talked about a hell weekend, his friend getting hurt, him going through a table.
Yeah, seemed genuinely baffled why fans were booing him, almost demanding they appreciate him being there.
Well, it didn't help him in the match. AJ Styles got the win with the Styles Clash.
Though it's worth noting, the Creed brothers interfered multiple times. AJ wasn't happy about that later on.
Okay, so then the first tournament match, the Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way. Backstage before, we saw Roxanne Perez approach Liv Morgan.
Right, suggesting they work together. Liv turned her down, said she works best alone. Perez seemed okay with it, wished her luck.
Interesting little interaction there. How did the match play out?
Roxanne Perez actually got the win. She pinned Kairi Sane with a roll-up.
Okay, so she advances to the semis. Any notable moments in the match?
Well, despite Liv saying she works alone, she and Roxanne did seem to team up at points. But then, crucially, when Liv went for a pin on Sane, Roxanne didn't help her out.
Ah, okay. So maybe not such a solid alliance then.
Doesn't seem like it. Also, Raquel Rodriguez ran down and stopped Rhea Ripley from getting a pinfall that looked like it might have won her the match.
So Raquel getting involved against Rhea again, that cost Rhea, but Roxanne capitalized. She moves on.
Yeah, it shows how tangled these things get. Tentative alliances, old rivalries bubbling up, all impacting who goes forward in the tournament.
Definitely. We also saw Becky Lynch backstage looking kind of annoyed by Austin Theory and Grayson Waller arguing nearby.
Just a quick shot. Then they aired the hype video for the main event, Jey Uso versus Gunther. Both guys shown getting ready.
And that Nikki Bella return package. Then we saw her backstage with Natalya and Maxine, and she had a quick, respectful intro with IYO SKY, the women's world champ.
Setting things up nicely for Becky Lynch's segment, she comes out the man with her Intercontinental title.
Acknowledges the lack of "you deserve it" chance, but insists she does deserve it. Says the title is relevant now in the big time. Wants a party.
But then immediately shifts blame to Lyra Valkyria for attacking her after her match. Says Lyra lost her mind, tried to kill her, demands an apology.
Lyra comes out, looks ready to respond, and then bam.
Bayley attacks Becky from behind. Total surprise.
Makes sense though, right? Becky attacked Bayley before WrestleMania, cost her a title shot. Payback?
Exactly. Becky tries to bail through the crowd, but Lyra stops her, throws her back in the ring to Bayley.
Whoa. So Lyra helped Bayley, or just didn't help Becky?
Hard to say for sure, but the result was Bayley getting more shots in before Becky finally escaped. Bayley is back, and she's clearly gunning for Becky.
That's a huge return and immediately creates this really interesting three-way feud. Becky, Lyra, Bayley. Lots of history and potential there.
While everyone's trying to figure that out, things get even stranger. R-Truth comes out.
But not usual R-Truth. He gets on the commentary desk?
Yeah, talks about the fans bringing him back, but says he is back too. Says R-Truth is funny, forgiving, but maybe that's not always good.
And he pulls out scissors.
And cuts his own hair. Right there on the desk. Declares, "The truth has set me free."
And says his name is Ron Killings. Time for respect.
It felt like a major shift, like shedding the comedy gimmick completely. This Ron Killings persona demanding respect, that's a whole new ballgame for him. Could be really compelling.
Wow. Okay, so after that, we went backstage to Judgment Day before Dominic's match.
Finn Balor and JD McDonough are there, and Finn's kind of questioning why Dom is in the KOTR tournament instead of him.
Dom says, well, he won at Money in the Bank, so he thought he should represent the group. Finn seems to, accept it, wishes him luck.
But then Roxanne Perez shows up, gets congrats from Finn, and then Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez arrive.
And Liv looked mad, questioning Roxanne, asking if she really has Judgment Day's best interests at heart, especially with her history with Dom.
Yeah, the tension was thick. Dom looked totally overwhelmed by it all and just used his match as an excuse to leave.
And Finn was just smiling, like he enjoyed the chaos.
It seemed that way. Really highlights the potential cracks in Judgment Day. Dom caught between Liv and Roxanne. Finn amused by it. Lots going on there.
We also saw Seth Rollins giving Braun Breaker a pep talk backstage, emphasizing winning King of the Ring is key for their stable's power.
Further cementing that connection, which led into the King of the Ring Fatal 4-Way.
And the winner was Sami Zayn. He pinned Dominic Mysterio after a haluva kick.
Big win for Sami. But there was a key moment just before the finish.
Right, LA Knight ran down and hit Braun Breaker with the BFT outside the ring.
Yeah, payback for SmackDown apparently. That took Breaker out. Sami capitalized on Dom. So LA Knight gets revenge, and it directly helps Sami advance.
So Sami Zayn moves on to the KOTR semifinals. What happened after?
Sami was backstage, and Karrion Kross confronted him, congratulated him, but suggested he only won because of LA Knight's distraction.
Ooh, undermining the win. How did Sami react?
Rejected it completely. Said he won because he's good enough, and he's good enough to beat Kross too. So looks like they're setting up a feud there.
Interesting. We also got an interview with AJ Styles. Still mad about Money in the Bank, right?
Yep. Despite beating Gable, he's still fuming about losing his MITB chance last week. Blamed Seth's lackeys, meaning the Creed brothers probably, and promised consequences.
So AJ Styles versus Rollins' group looks like it's heating up.
Seems so. And Kathy Kelly spoke to New Day, the World Tag Team champs. Grayson Waller was lurking.
Waller left, and Kathy kind of pushed them about their next title defense. Like they weren't defending enough.
Yeah, they seemed surprised. said they just defended 2 weeks ago, they're making the titles relevant, told her to relax, just reinforcing their status as fighting champions.
Okay, then we got Nikki Bella's in-ring promo. Happy to be back.
Yeah, called for Evolution 2, listed some top women she admires like Rhea, Bianca, Vacher, Julia.
And noticeably left someone out.
Liv Morgan.
Oh.
Who came out furious her name wasn't mentioned. Listed her own achievements, said Nikki was lucky Liv wasn't around back then.
Got personal too, right? Said Nikki was jealous because Liv has a title and a man.
Ouch. Nikki fired back, though. Asked who Liv's man, clearly meaning Dominic would choose, Liv or Roxanne Perez.
Oh, hitting that nerve. How did Liv react?
Enraged. Called Nikki a reality show diva. Nikki stepped back in the ring, and Liv just laid her out with the oblivion.
Wow. Liv taking out a Hall of Famer, that's a statement. And Nikki bringing Roxanne into it just stirs that pot even more.
Absolutely. It escalated Liv's whole storyline significantly, tying it back to the Judgment Day drama while giving her a big target in Nikki.
They replayed the Cena punt confirmation for Night of Champions after that, really hammering home how big that is.
And then it was time. Main event. World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso defending against Gunther.
Big fight feel. How did it end?
Gunther won via referee stoppage. Locked in the sleeper hold, G passed out.
Title change. Gunther is the new World Heavyweight Champion.
That's the headline. Gunther, a 2-time world champion, he looked absolutely dominant regaining the title. Huge moment to end the show.
So G's reign is over. Gunther's back on top of Raw. Massive shift.
They showed Gunther celebrating with the title as Raw went off the air. And they plugged next week, too. Asuka's back in the Queen of the Ring, facing Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, and Stephanie Baker.
And the King of the Ring continues with Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson Reed, and a mysterious superstar. So the tournaments roll on.
Definitely. So when you look back at this one episode, it's kind of incredible how much happened.
Yeah, I mean, you have the massive Cena versus Punk match set for Night of Champions with Rollins looming. That alone is huge.
Plus the tournament's kicking off, giving us Sami Zayn and Roxanne Perez advancing, but also fueling feuds like LA Nightbreaker and stirring the pot with Judgment Day and Liv Roxanne.
And the returns. Bayley going right after Becky, involving Lyra. Nikki Bella returning only to get laid out by an increasingly intense Liv Morgan.
And maybe the most intriguing character shift, R-Truth becoming Ron Killings, demanding respect. That could go anywhere.
And capped off by that major title change in the main event, Gunther dethroning Jey Uso. It really feels like the whole landscape of Raw got reset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You now have a much clearer picture of the major players, the key feuds, and the championship chases heading towards Night of Champions. It was a dense show.
It really was. And seeing those character changes, Ron Killings, the aggressive Liv, vengeful Bayley, it makes you wonder.
What's that?
Well, with established stars making such dramatic shifts, breaking from their past or becoming way more ruthless, how much more of that are we going to see?
Like, could other stars feel the pressure to evolve or get more aggressive as the competition ramps up for Night of Champions and beyond? Is this a trend?
Exactly. Are we entering an era where more stars might break mold, shed old personas or alliances to get ahead? Something to think about.
A really interesting thought. Well, that wraps up this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us as we unpacked a massive episode of Monday Night Raw.